Okay, I think I've got this right. All right, good afternoon, everybody. This is Robert at Scott Leroy Marketing. Just finished our sound check a couple of minutes ago, so we'll get started with our Placester 201 class. This is our more advanced Placester class. This is beyond getting it basically set up and launched and ready for clients to start using. So before we get started, I want to cover a couple of things. This class is recorded along with all of our other Placester 101 and 201 classes at slmtraining.com. If you'd like to listen in via phone instead of your computer speakers, or if you're having trouble listening on your computer and you'd rather dial in, there's the number there in the chat window. It's been flashing by on the screen every once in a while as well. And then before we get started, make sure that you're using any browser besides Microsoft Internet Explorer or Apple Safari. Internet Explorer was retired about 3 years ago, so nobody supports it anymore. Many websites are no longer working on Internet Explorer because it doesn't really exist anymore in Microsoft's mind. Instead, they moved on to their new browser, which is Microsoft Edge, and that one works just fine. If you're using Windows 10 and you've got Microsoft Edge, feel free to use Edge. But if you've got Windows 7 or 8 or anything older, Internet Explorer will no longer work. So you'll need to use a more modern browser like Google Chrome or Mozilla Firefox. And then since September 7th of this year, KW International introduced a new login system, and that system has been having issues with the Safari browser on Mac at the time of accessing the Placester interface. So if you're using a Mac, you would want to switch to maybe Google Chrome or Mozilla Firefox also, because the Placester interface will ask you to log into Placester, and there is no login to Placester. It's only accessed through MyKW. There is no username and password that we can get for you. So you would want to use a different browser in that case. And then lastly, this class also assumes that you have already gotten your site set up using the tips and tricks, the process in Placester 101, or that we have already set your site up for you. So this class will not cover any of that information again. We're going to be starting where the other class left off and moving forward from there. Alrighty, let me get rid of our slideshow here. Switch over to my MyKW window. You'll remember from Placester 101 that accessing your KW site through Placester is done through MyKW. So our first step is to get logged into mykw.kw.com. Once we're on our MyKW homepage, up in the very top black menu, we'll hover over Technology, then click KW Websites, third option down. And then on this page, we'll click our red Go to My Website button. Now, if you don't have that Go to My Website button, you're going to want to refer back to our Placester 101 class that talks about how to get that button. We're not going to cover that in this class. Once you're in the Placester interface here, this is assuming, again, you've already been through Placester 101, your site is launched, your basic information is in there. So we're just going to be starting from where we left off on Placester 101. So over here on the left, under Quick Actions, we'll click on Edit Site. And we're going to scroll down near the bottom to where we left off in Placester 101, Custom Domain. So we'll click on that, just a little bit of a refresher here. Here's where you can find your current site address. You can edit that site address over here on the right, and then you can also apply your custom domain if you have one. Now, if you don't want to try to figure out connecting your custom domain to your KW website powered by Placester, it's a little more complicated than just putting the address in here. We can actually take care of that for you. Actually, I sent you the wrong link first. If you need a custom domain, if you don't have one yet, we found a deal from GoDaddy where you can get one for 99 cents for the first year. It's regular price after that, which is usually not very expensive, usually between $10 and $20 per year. And then we can help you to get that connected to your site using this link that I'm sending you here as well. And by the way, if you guys don't know where I'm sending these links, up at the very top of your screen, just to the left of center, you've got this little speech bubble icon right here. If you'll click on that button, that'll pop up the chat window where I'm sending you guys these messages. This is also where you can type back to me if you have any questions. If there's anything you're unclear on, anything I accidentally skipped, anything I didn't cover that you want to cover, you can send me those questions here in the chat window. I will be monitoring that. And then also, if you're watching this on a recording, if you need any of these links that I'm sending in the chat window, just send us an email at support@scottleroymarketing.com, and we can send you all these notes from our Placester 201 and 101 classes. Okay, so that's our custom domain. One big note about your site address here, if if you're going to be using the .kw.com address instead of a custom domain, you don't want to put www. In front of it. That's incorrect. That's wrong. That's not the right way to do it. Your site address starts with whatever is here before the first dot. It does not start with www. I am warning you about this. I'm very clear about this. If you print www on any marketing materials, including your business cards or your email signature, and something goes wrong, we are not responsible. I have told you very clearly, no www on your site address, unless you've purchased a custom domain and you're using that instead. But if you're using the .kw.com address, no www. Okay. So we're going to exit custom domain, and now we're going to get into our new material here for Placester 201, starting with site tracking. This is where you can track the activity of people on your site. Now, when I say activity, that's just what information. What are they doing? This is not who information. You can't get names and emails and phone numbers through this section unless you're using a specific thing that I'll cover in just a minute. But for the most part, you're not going to be able to get contact information through site tracking. This is just activity. This is where did they come from? How long did they spend on your site? Which pages did they view on your site? How many pages did they view on your site? What did they search for on your site? This is, again, not names and phone numbers and emails. So in this top section here, this tracking ID section, this is where you can set up Google Analytics. So if you've got a Google account, including your KW email, but any other Google account also, you can set up free Google Analytics that Google provides to everybody. And you can track that here on your site for that activity information. You would go to analytics.google.com, set up your account. It would give you a tracking ID that looks like this, UA-number. You would paste in that code into this box right here, scroll down and click Save, and then after about 48 hours, you should start seeing statistics about the activity on your site over on your Google Analytics dashboard, which is the analytics.google.com. Now, let's see, we can set up Google Analytics for you if you'd rather not try to figure that out yourself. I'm sending you the link where you can request for us to do that. Scrolling down under that, we've got Google conversion tracking. This gets into Google search engine ads, Google AdWords, and things like that. We're not going to cover that because that gets into spending money, and we're not going to cover anything about that with this class. If you want more information about Google AdWords specifically, send us an email at support@scottleroymarketing.com. We can get you some more information. And then lastly on this page, we've got Facebook pixel tracking. This is for if you're running ads in Facebook and you've set up the pixel system. This is where you can get some of that who information. You can get names and emails and phone numbers if people have visited your site through your through your Facebook ad while they were logged into Facebook. This is the only way besides someone submitting a lead capture form that you'll get who information, that you'll get contact information. Any other analytics is strictly activity. So if you've set up your Google ads and you've set up Facebook ads and you've set up Facebook Pixel, in your Pixel dashboard, there's a code that they can generate for you. It's a big, long HTML snippet. If you'll send that to us along with your MyKW username and password, we can get Facebook Pixel applied to your site and you can start seeing those statistics in your Facebook Pixel dashboard. It's a very simple little 15-digit code that goes in here. We can pick it out of that big HTML snippet that they generate for you, and we'll put it in this box and save it. Now, if you've added any of those yourself, again, harkening back to our Placester 101 class, you have to click Save to apply any of the changes to your site. If you don't click Save, anything you just did is lost and you'll have to redo it. So I'm going to exit this because I didn't actually do anything in there. I noticed a couple of people joining us. So just to get you started, and this is the last time I'll cover it before the end of the class, up at the very top of your screen, just to the left of center, you've got this little speech bubble icon right here. If you'll click on that, it'll bring up the chat window here, and you can send me messages here, ask me questions. If there's anything that you want me to cover that I haven't, anything you're unclear on, you can definitely send me that there, and I'll be monitoring that. So we just finished with site tracking. We're going to come down here to site verification. It's a slightly different thing here, tracking and verification. They're from similar things, but they're not the same thing. Site verification is verifying that you are the owner of this site, that you have permission, that you have access to make specified changes from each of these providers here to make sure that you actually own this site and you have the right to be using the site in other places. So Google and Bing both provide a Webmaster Tools system. Google now calls this actually Search Console, and it's basically a system where Google or Bing will look at your site and they'll say, okay, this is what can be improved about your site to help your search engine ranking. So in that, you would go to google.com/webmastertools or bing.com/webmastertools, set up that account. They're going to provide you with a verification code that would need to go in these boxes here, and then you would save that and you'd start seeing information about your site in about 48 hours. Now, we only set up Google Webmaster Tools because that is the main search engine on the internet. We don't mess with Bing. Bing is, the redheaded stepchild. Nobody really cares about it except the people that really care about it. So we can set up Google Webmaster Tools for you. I just sent you the link there where you can request for us to set that up. Just fill out the form. We'll get it all taken care of for you. And then down here for Pinterest, what this does is if you've created your Pinterest page and you've created a business profile there in Pinterest, there's a spot for you to list your website address on your Pinterest profile. In order to do that, you have to verify again that you are the owner of that site. So Pinterest is going to provide a very similar code to the Google Webmaster Tools and Bing Webmaster Tools that would need to be pasted into this box as well. We don't really set that up for you, but if you can get into Pinterest and get that code and send it over to us and include your MyKW username and password, we can get the correct part of that code into this box here. Again, once you've added anything to these boxes, make sure to click Save to apply it to your site. And then the last thing we'll cover here in the site info section is this SSL certificate. SSL stands for Secure Socket Layer, and this is basically security for your site. This is giving people peace of mind as they submit their contact information in the lead capture forms on your site. Lets them know that their information will not be intercepted over the air if they're like on a public network or something like that. No one can grab their personal information as they're submitting it on your site because it's secured with this SSL. In the vast majority of cases, you want to leave this on, and it's on by default. So you don't really want to change this setting unless we've seen maybe 2 or 3 times in the last couple of years since this was introduced where you would have to turn this off if you're using some custom domains. And we've only seen this, like I said, 2 or 3 times in the thousands of Placester sites that we've set up. So in the vast majority of cases, leave this exactly where it is. So I'm going to exit this. That does it for the site settings page here. We're going to spend the rest of the class moving over across pages, blog posts, testimonials, and areas. A little bit earlier, you may have noticed that I mentioned a couple of free services where we can take care of things for your website. We actually have a full list of about 3 dozen free things we can do for you through your Market Center subscription. That's at scottleroymarketing.com/support, and I just sent you guys the link there in that chat window. You can find all of our complimentary services through your Market Center subscription. And now this is only complimentary for agents that are in a Market Center who has subscribed to our services. Okay. We're going to jump over here to pages. We're going to be basically moving from left to right across here. Last time I did this class, blog post was giving us trouble. We'll see if we can get that to work this time. But we're going to start with pages here. Now, a question I get a lot is, what's the difference between a page and a blog post? A page is more of a static, unchanging thing, or not very often changing thing on your site. It's something that's going to be, you want it to be found in the same place. It's usually going to have about the same information. You want it to be easily accessible and basically permanent on your site. So that would be information like buyer resources or maybe a mortgage calculator or previous sales or something like that. And then a blog post instead is more mercurial. It's expected to be moved down and sort of replaced by newer content. A blog post, think of it like a newspaper article. Today's newspaper edition is expected to be replaced by tomorrow's newspaper edition. You can always look back at the older editions if you want to, but tomorrow's newspaper edition is going to be the most recent and the most up-to-date versus today's edition, which might have older information. So that's the difference between a page and a blog post. And if anybody's unclear on that, definitely send me any questions that you have in that chat window. So to create a new page, and in fact to create a new one of any of these, page, blog post, testimonial, or area, on whatever page that you're on, whatever section that you're on here, you would click the plus sign to create a new one. Same for blog posts, same for testimonials, same for areas. We're not going to do that just yet. We will in just a few minutes, but before that I want to cover this list that's down here. there. Now, there's been a period of transition here with the Placester sites where new Placester sites are providing a little bit more content by default. So you may have a couple of things in this list that I don't have. And that's fine. You're welcome to use those or not use those as you see fit. It's some default filler content. It's not actually really useful. You would want to customize it for your actual area and your actual business. But it is showing you there what you are capable of in your Placester site. If you have a little bit older site like Scott does here, I'm logged in as him, you should have just these 5 default pages that are created at the time your site is created. You've got your about page, blog, contact, listing, search, and your favorite listings. These 4 pages are fairly self-explanatory. This is my About Me page. This is the page where I'm going to find all my blog posts. This is the page where I'm going to find my contact form. And then this is the page where I can search for listings. You can edit any of these by clicking on the title of that page or on the edit link over here on the right. And then you'll notice on some of them we have this option to remove the page. We can delete pages from our Placester sites. You'll notice that the About page and the listing search page cannot be removed. You can't delete these pages. You can remove them from the menu on your site so they're not as easily accessible. But if someone were to type yoursite.com/listing-search, they would end up on the listing search page. And I'm not sure why you would ever want to do that. That's half of the point of a real estate website is listing search. So you definitely want to leave that on there unless, I can't even think of a reason why you wouldn't want that on there. And then this last page here, this Your Favorite Listings, is what's called a client profile page type. So Your Favorite Listings means your as in the client, the person visiting your website who has created an account and saved some properties. This page is going to list all of those saved properties for that person. So this is your as in the client, the site visitor, rather than your as in the agent. If you want to show your listings instead on a full page, that's definitely easy to do, something we can take care of in just a couple of minutes. I'll show you just how to do that. But this is the client's favorite properties, not your as the agent's favorite properties. Again, you can edit any of these clicking on the name or that edit link over on the right. Right now, we'll go up to the top here. We're going to click our plus sign to create a new page. And we're going to go over the different parts of creating a page, and then we're actually going to create a couple of pages to add to your site. When you go create a new page, the first thing you'll see up here is the slug. Slug is just a fancy name for address. I'm not sure why they don't just call it that, but slug equals address equals slug. They're the same thing. And the slug is affected by the page title. I'll come back to template here in just a second. The page title is automatically appended to the end of that slug. So test page, you'll notice it's highlighted there in yellow. It sticks it after that slash there. The slug will always match the title, and the title will always match the slug. You can't have a different title than you have in the slug. I know in some other website providers, like WordPress namely, you can have one title and you can have the slug be something different. You can have like a longer title and then set the slug to maybe just 1 or 2 words, and that's easier for people to remember and type. In Placester, that's not the situation. Page title equals slug. It's always going to be exactly the same. So whatever you put in here is going to show up here. Now the template here are the different types of pages that you can create. You can create an about page. By the way, what's selected here by default is testimonials index. That's the last one in the list. I don't know why it doesn't do the first one in the list, but it's the last one. The about page here already created on your site. No point in doing that. You'll notice as I move my mouse here, it may seem like your video is glitching, but it's not. It's actually skipping over Agents Index. I cannot click on this. I cannot select Agents Index because that's part of an upgrade package in your Placester account. It used to be free through your KW subscription, but it's not anymore. Placester moved that over to an upgrade package. So if you're the lead agent on a team and you want to list agents that are on your team, you could pay for that upgrade package and you could create individual pages for each of the people on your team. Or we actually have a workaround where we can you can create that just through regular pages. It's a little bit harder, a little bit more cumbersome, but it's definitely possible without paying any extra money per month for the site. If you want information about that, just send us an email, support@scottleroymarketing.com. Under that, we've got an areas index. Oh, one thing I forgot to cover about the agents index. Anytime you see the word index, think list. Index equals list equals index equals list. They're the same thing. An index is a list. So anytime you see index, think list. So that is a list of agents. And right here, we've got a list of areas. An areas index means anything that you create up here under areas would be listed on this type of page that we're looking at in the templates here. So we are going to create one of these in just a couple of minutes, but we're not going to do that just yet. Next, we've got blog post index. Again, this is a list of your blog posts. So this would be a list of anything created here under blog posts. This already exists on your site, no reason to create another one. Client profile is that your favorite listings page that's already created on the site as well. No need to create another one. Same for contact page, it's contact you. No need to create another one, it's already on the site. Custom landing page is another one that it skips past. It won't let me click this. It won't let me select this. This is again part of an upgrade package. I think it's even a different upgrade package than the agent pages. This is where you can create quote-unquote landing pages or squeeze pages or lead pages or something like that, whatever you call them. You can create pages that are integrated into the site. Now, to counter that, we do have a free solution that where you can use a Google form to create landing pages on your site, and it's free, totally free through any Google account that you have. So I'm sending you the link where you can request for us to create a couple of or create a landing page on your site. We've actually got 3 landing pages we can create for your site. There's a seller evaluation, so it's a seller lead form. There's a testimonial collection form where people can submit their own testimonials, which they can't do by default on the site. And then there's an open house sign-in form, which you would have open during an open house on your computer and just have people sign in as they come in. So where was I there? So we can add those additional pages to your site, or you can use Google Forms to create any kind of landing page that you want. You can customize your Google form to have as many or few questions as you want, and you can embed that in your site pretty easily. Just send us an email at support@scottleroymarketing.com and we can get you the class where we show you how to do that. Coming back to our list of templates here, this featured listings page, this is the one I was talking about earlier where it's listing your listings or whatever listings that you want to show. This would go back to under site settings in that featured listings section. It would be a page full of listings that meet the criteria that you set in that featured listings section. So whether this is your MLS ID or your office's MLS ID or certain zip codes or certain price range or anything like that, this would be a page full of listings that meet those criteria. It's different from a regular listing search page. It's a search for listings that meet the criteria in your featured listings section. And if you want more information about that, just send us an email. Under that, we've got a listing search page already created on the site. No point in creating it. RSS feed index is kind of neat here. Say you've got, and this is the most common way it's going to be used, say you've got a blog on a different platform, maybe blogger.com or ActiveRain or WordPress or something like that, and you don't want to worry about posting blogs to that and to your KW website here powered by Placester. What you could do is go to that service wherever else you've got a blog and get your RSS link. Real-time syndication or real-time something syndication. I don't remember what that's first S stands for, but you would get that RSS link and you would come create one of these pages, paste in that link, and then you could replace the existing blog in your Placester site with the blog content that comes over from wherever else it is that you're blogging, and it would automatically come in here and it would look like it was part of this site instead of that other site. And then Real Satisfied ratings and reviews. Real Satisfied is essentially Yelp for real estate agents. So if you're a member of Real Satisfied and you've got some reviews on there and you're a paid Real Satisfied member, you can automatically bring those reviews over here into your Placester site. You would click this button and log in and set all that up. Now, you do have to be a paying member of Real Satisfied. It doesn't cost anything on the Placester end to have these come over, but you do have to pay Real Satisfied in order for those to come over. And then lastly, again, we've got our testimonials index, the one that it started out with at the beginning because it was last on the list. Index, again, equals list of testimonials that you create in this section here. And we'll go over more about that in just a little bit. So let's do... oh, I accidentally skipped the default page. The default page template is the one that you're going to use most often. This is a general page. It's not any specific type of page like a list of such and such or whatever. This is where you can put in your own content, your own images, your own videos, anything that you want you can put on these pages, and it would be a, like I said, a little bit more permanent fixture on your site versus a blog post. So again, this would be information like vendors or seller resources, buyer resources, things like that, versus a blog post would be something a little more mercurial, like this event that's coming up soon, or such and such, military installment or college or whatever. Maybe first-time homebuyer resources or a mortgage calculator or mortgage help. You could put that on a default page template. So let's select that here so that we can see some of the different parts of creating a page. So we've chosen that template. We've got our title, which again affects the slug like I covered at the beginning. And then down here we've got a section for page content. This is where you would put in that text. You can also put in images using this button right here. You can apply links to text or images using this button here. You can add in YouTube videos using this button right here. It does already have to be in YouTube. You can go get the embed code from YouTube. You can't upload videos directly here to Placester. It has to already be in YouTube, or even Vimeo, I think you can use also. You can also do your bold, italic, underline, lists, alignment, tables, things like that. It's very simple WYSIWYG editor. What you see is what you get. You can also do different headings and paragraphs and things like that. Oops. And then if you know HTML, you can do that in this box here. This is the fairly universal symbol for HTML. It's a couple of brackets with a slash. So in here, you can put any kind of content that you want. You can type it in, paste it in, whatever. Under that, we've got a couple of options here. On certain page types for certain themes, you can check this box and it would display it all the way across the page, rather than over on the right, it's got the contact form and the listing search form by default. Instead, it would remove those and you would just see this page's content across the whole page. So this would be great for maybe one of those landing pages through Google Forms. You give them one form to fill out on the page, instead of over on the right, they have another 2 forms and they might get confused and not know what to do. Now this does only work for the Madison and the Madison Metro themes. So if you're using any of the other 6 or 7 themes, this won't work, the display full width. You have to be using the Madison or the Madison Metro in order for it to get rid of those 2 forms over on the right or left, depending on the theme that you're using. And then lastly, we've got this, or not lastly, next we've got this checkbox here for add this page to my menu. It's pretty self-explanatory. When I click the save button, this page will automatically be added to my menu. I don't have to go over to the menu section and add it manually. This only shows the very first time you're creating the page. If you come back later and you're editing the page, this checkbox won't be here. So if you want this page added to your menu, easiest just to check this box when you're first creating the page. Under that, we've got our meta title and our meta description. This is where it's going to help your SEO, your search engine optimization there. And I'm sending you a quick link about how to work with SEO on your site. We've got a 30-day challenge for that, getting you into the habit of working with your site and getting things set up for you to do better on search engines. Now, one thing to mention about SEO, there is no such thing as a magic bullet or a silver bullet that will get you to the quote-unquote first page of Google overnight. And if anybody ever promises you that, take it with a very, very large grain of salt, because they're probably selling you snake oil. Search engines don't care about your website, to be frank. Your site is new, it's small, it's not popular, it's not anything at all compared to like LinkedIn or Facebook or ActiveRain or anything like that that is established and has hundreds of thousands, if not millions or billions of users and needs to be indexed instantly all the time. Your site will need to be indexed about every 3 weeks, along with all of the other billions of web pages that are out there. Google's computers only have so much time to process new websites, and so they have to cycle through them, and it takes about 3 weeks to do that. So if anybody promises first page Google results overnight, you get some skepticism there. Anyway, so for this meta title and this meta description, the meta title shows in 2 places, and I covered this a little bit in Placester 101, but I'll go back over it here because it's worth covering. It shows up here in the browser tab. You see where it says Placester under my mouse here, and you see where it says MyKW under my mouse. That's one place that the meta title shows, and that would be the title for this particular page. The other place that it shows is on search engine results. So if I search Scott Leroy Marketing, it's the blue link that actually shows here on the search engine results. So you're telling the search engine what to display as the title if you were to show up in search engine results. Now there's a soft limit of about 55 characters in this meta title, and it's not going to hurt anything if your title is longer than that. What'll happen is if your title is longer than, oops, okay, it showed something on that page. If your title is longer than about 55 characters, it'll end up truncating it with this ... Let me scroll down here. Again, not hurting anything, it's just people, human beings, won't see it. They'll see the rest of it before that, but they won't see anything after that ... And then for the meta description, this shows just in one place. It's on the search engine results page, and it is this gray text underneath the blue link in your search engine result. So you're telling the search engine what to show here. This is actual human readable. Real live human beings are going to be able to see this. So this is not, and I emphasize not the place to do quote unquote meta tags. So where you would do something like homes for sale, oops, in Orlando, property for sale in Orlando, real estate for sale in Orlando, and comma, things like that. Comma separated quote unquote meta tags fell out of fashion about 10 years ago, so they're not really used anymore. Search engines care about much more sophisticated things on your site, which is the content of your site. Content is king. So if you have nothing on your site that relates to what people are searching for, you're not going to come up in that search. So you want to have stuff on your site. We're going to be working on some of that content here that relates to what people are searching for, and you can do more with that using that 30-day challenge in SEO that I just sent you a minute ago. So we're going to come back up to the top here, and we're going to create a couple of different pages. We're going to create 2 index pages, actually. So we're going to create an areas index first. So in this template, we're choosing areas index, and this is going to be, again, a list of areas that we create over here. So you'll name this something similar to like service areas, or where I work, or communities, or learn about so-and-so, or about such and such area, something like that. So I'm going to call this where I work, something like that. And typically not good to put punctuation in here. And then you can add some page content if you want here on the areas index. So this, I'm going to add it here just to show you. This is the list of areas that Scott Roy works in and around Orlando, Florida. And we'll come down, and you'll notice that checkbox for display full width doesn't show here on this particular page type. Some of the page types don't have that option, so you're not going to be able to check that box. But we are going to leave the box checked for add this page to my menu. For a meta title, I'm actually going to go back, going to open up a new tab. So I did control click on sites here, opening up a new tab to go back to the Placester interface, and where are we here? And the list of sites, and I'll click on edit site here. Oh, I actually removed it. So what you would want to do is copy and paste in the meta title from the site info section, and then on the far left at the very beginning you would add the title of this page. You want to keep your meta title pretty consistent across all the pages on your site. So you would basically paste in what's on the home page, and then on the left at the beginning add in basically the title of this page. So it would be something like where I work, areas. I'll put that in because that's the type of page it is. And then Scott Leroy, oops, 21268, search homes for sale in Orlando, Florida, and then finish it off with our market center name. Something like that. I forgot to put a dash here. There we go. So right about this spot is where it's going to be basically the same on all pages. Everything before that is going to be unique to this particular page. And then for the meta description, it's a description of this page. So learn about the areas in and around Orlando, Florida from, oops, forgot a comma, from your local real estate resource, Scott Leroy. Something like that. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention about the meta description, you've got about 3 times as much space here in the description versus what you have in the title. It's about 155 characters before it truncates it into that ... So you can be a little bit more verbose here. And you can also use those quote-unquote tags. You just don't separate them with comma, 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 comma. So Orlando is a tag, local real estate resource is a tag, Scott Leroy is a tag, and you can add other things in here. It just needs to be in natural, human readable language because, again, real live people are going to see this when you show up in search engine results. It's not just something that's seen by Google. Actual people are seeing this. Once you're done, you can either save it as a draft so you can send it live on your site later. It's not going to show up live immediately. Or you can save it and that would go live on your site right away. We're going to save this just to apply it to the site right away. Because I left this box checked for add this page to my menu, it's telling me this page was added to your menu. Would you like to go edit the menu label order? And you can do that by clicking the green button right here. You can drag and drop things to move them around. I'm just going to close this so I can go create another page. So there's my Where I Work page. We're going to click our plus sign. We're going to create one additional page type, and it is going to be the testimonials index. So we don't have to change anything there. In the page title, you can put something like testimonials or happy clients, or I'm going to do from the horse's mouth just because this isn't a real site and I like having fun here. Hear from my clients that, I'm pretty great. Now you'll notice there is no page content section here. You can't put in anything that's going to go above this list of testimonials, and that's fine. Each testimonial is basically going to speak for itself. We've got, again, that meta title, so I'm going to paste in, oops. Oh, I didn't copy it. So I'm going to put in the title of this page, From the Horse's Mouth. And if it's not clear, I'm going to add in what this page is about, testimonials, and then add that same information from the meta title. Gosh. I type fast. Okay, and then in this meta description, again, something simple about what this page is about. Hear from Scott's happy clients exactly how great it is to work with your local Orlando real estate resource. Actually, we'll change this to Scott Leroy's. Something like that. And then we'll save it to send it live on the site. And we'll close this because we don't need to go edit the menu. So now let's go click on View Live Site here to go see what this looks like on the site. And you'll see these two new menu items here, Where I Work, and From the Horse's Mouth. Those are those two new pages we added. And if I were to click on these, there's nothing on them yet. So we're not going to do that just yet. We're going to go move over to the right here. We're going to jump over here to Blog Posts. Then we'll go over to Testimonials and Areas. Gosh, there's so much to cover in this class. I'm sorry, we're going to run over. Okay. Make sure I covered everything I'm supposed to so far. All right, so here in the blog section, if you've got one of the older styles of sites before Placester made this transition, you should only have these 4 blog posts here. You may have some additional ones if you have one of the newer Placester sites. This is going to be very, very, very generic filler information. It's not going to be specific to your area. So you may want to remove them or click on the name or edit here to edit them and make them more personalized for your area. Probably best just to remove them and start from scratch. Now, these same 4 or however many you have blog posts are going to be on everybody's site. And these are the only blog posts that Placester is going to provide for you. No new blog content is going to be added by anybody except you. Placester isn't going to add any. KW isn't going to add any. We aren't going to add any. You are responsible for your own blog content. And to create a new blog post, you would again click the plus sign just like we do on the pages to create a new one. Now, there aren't different types of blog posts, thank goodness. There's just one kind. And you start with the title, and they swapped these, title and slug. But the title, again, affects the slug. So test blog, we'll call that there. And it adds that at the end of the slug here. Here's your content, and I'm going to go get some fake content. I'm going to get some lorem ipsum. It's some fake Latin text from a really old language that is not spoken anymore. Going to get a couple of paragraphs of this, come and paste this in. So that's just filler text, doesn't actually mean anything. It's just showing you what the page looks like with text on it. Under that, we've got a new section here. We've got options where we can add in an excerpt and a featured image. An excerpt is a summary of this blog post without rewriting the blog post all over again. So this is a summary of this blog post. Now, this is going to show on your site up to roughly about 155 characters, very similar to the meta description on the search engine. So this is what people are going to see before they click into this individual blog post on the blog index page, the one that already exists. So you want this to be a description of what this blog is about. Under that, we've got this featured image. This is going to show on that blog index page inside a circle over to the left of the title in this excerpt. Actually, no, it's not. No, it's not. It's going to be square above this excerpt with the title over it. And then it's also going to show at the top of the blog page itself. So we're going to do a nice image here that I found for free. Actually, here we go. On the internet. And if you want information about how to find free images, it's not actually that cat. That's the thumbnail icon. If you want information about how to find free images to use on your site, we actually do have a class for where you can do that. You don't want to just go on Google and grab the first image you see that matches your criteria and that you like. It's probably copyrighted, and the copyright owner could come after you with fees for using their image without their permission. So you want to make sure to find images that are actually free to use, and we have that class showing how to do that. I just sent you the link. Okay. Down here we've got our meta title. I'm just going to put in a test and then test description. Now these are optional. You actually don't have to have a title and description for each page. It's just good to. It's good practice. I'm just putting this in here just to show you that it's there. So we're going to publish this. So this is now going to be on the blog page of our site. Here's our new test blog posted November 14th. Here's our featured image. If I click anywhere on that, it's going to take me into the actual blog page itself. And here's my filler text. Here's that featured image up at the top again. That's where that would go. Okay, jumping over to testimonials. This is where you can add testimonials from any source that you feel like. If somebody emailed you a testimonial or even texted you a testimonial, you want to show that on your site, even from like Zillow or Trulia or Yelp or anywhere else. Those are your testimonials. You're welcome to copy and paste them here into your site if you want to. You would click the plus sign to create a new testimonial. Now, do note that by default, there's no way for clients to come to your site and submit a testimonial. So we actually have a free page where we can get that, a free service where we can add a form to your site where people can submit testimonials. That's again done through Google Forms, and that's on scottleroymarketing.com/support. So just fill out that form and we'll get that added to your site here. When people do submit that Google form, it's not automatically going to show that testimonial on your site. You would actually need to come manually into this section here and copy and paste the testimonial in. There's no way for clients to send a testimonial and it automatically be posted on your site. And you probably don't want that. Say somebody submits a negative testimonial. You don't want that to show up on your site overnight and it's there for hours and hours before you notice the email the next day and you have a chance to take it down. So you do want to be in control of your own testimonials. So for a testimonial, again, title slug, testimonial, just putting something in there. In here is the content of our testimonial. So something like Scott is amazingly wonderful. We will never work with another real estate agent. Something like that. You paste it in there from wherever. Under that, referrer is the name of the person who sent you this testimonial. If they want to remain anonymous, you can put anonymous in this box. You can put in Sally Seller, Betty Buyer. Say this is a vendor that worked with you, or maybe your co-broker on the other side of the deal, or your broker who's giving you a commendation. You would just put their name in here. So we'll do this as Betty Buyer. And then affiliation is, are they a buyer, seller, investor, co-broker, your broker, a vendor, something like that. We'll put in buyer right here. This checkbox here is, I think it's also only available for the Madison theme. If you check this box, this testimonial will be featured on your home page underneath the blog section, or actually I think it's above the blog section. So we'll check that box to show you what that looks like. Again, we've got an excerpt and a featured image, so testimonial excerpt. And we've got an image here. So for this featured image, this is a great place to show either the person who sent you this testimonial, or if you don't have their picture or they don't want their picture shown, it's a great place to maybe show the property that you help them to buy or sell. So I'm going to put in a picture of these people. This is another free image I found online. Have no idea who they are. We're going to pretend this was my buyers, and this is showing you, I work with attractive people. I don't know. Scrolling down here, we've again got our meta title and our meta description. Oops. And one thing I forgot to mention about blog posts and everything else that we're going to work on today. So blog posts, testimonials, and areas. Typically, it's a good idea just to take your excerpt and copy and paste that into your meta description. It's usually pretty okay to have those be the same because it's essentially the same thing. You're telling people what they're going to find on this page before they click on it, whether it's in a search engine or if it's on the blog post index on your site. We're going to save that, get that added to the site, or excuse me, testimonial index. So now if I come up here to From the Horse's Mouth, here is my Betty Buyer test testimonial. I can click on More to go see the full thing. So can I? Yeah, that's the only thing I can click on to go see it. And here is my testimonial. Pretty neat. Okay, jumping over here to areas. This is where we're going to spend the rest of our time. So if you have any questions about anything we covered already, now's your chance. Up here in the top, click on your little speech bubble icon. That'll open up your chat window, and you can send me any questions you have. So we're going to create a new area page here, and an area is a physical area in your service area. It's a subsection of it. And we'll just start at the top talking about how to do that. Again, title and slug, so test area, and you've got that new address up here in the slug. Down here, this is where you can choose where it's going to pull listings from to show at the bottom of this area page that you're creating. So basically, you're creating an area page about, such and such neighborhood, and at the bottom, it's going to show listings in that neighborhood that you're writing about. Now, I say neighborhood because that's what we're going to recommend that you write area pages about. You can write them about your city, your entire city, or your entire county, or even your entire state or zip code. But in our recommendation, you're going to want to do neighborhood. You want to be hyper local. You want to make it as small as you can. Okay, Dan had a question about uploading a new listing. Is there a video on doing this or an instruction form? You don't add listings to your site. You don't do that manually. Those are going to come over automatically from the IDX feed to your MLS. If you want information about setting up IDX for your site, scottleroymarketing.com/IDX, or refer to our Placester 101 class. You don't add listings to your site manually. Nobody does. No agent. Why would you want to add, your own listings or any of the hundreds of thousands of listings that are potentially out there to your site? Instead, listings are going to come over automatically from the MLS if you've got IDX set up. So refer back to Placester 101 or scottleroymarketing.com/IDX for information about that. Okay, here in the areas, like I said, we're going to recommend doing neighborhood. You want to be hyper-local because this is a little bit of an anecdote here. I was in a class a while back where someone was talking about these area pages, and they said that they had a client that they worked with. This was a consultant to real estate agents. He said he had a client he worked with where he did an area page on his site of this one particular subdivision in his city. And at the time of the class, he had 3 or 4 deals because of that page, because he was basically the only person on the internet that had real information about this particular subdivision that wasn't just, here's a list of listings in this subdivision. He had information about it's close to this, it's close to that, it has this amenity, it has this shopping, it has easy drive to this military installment, or it's great for retirees or for college students or for new families. He had real information about what it's like to live in this particular neighborhood, and he had gotten 3 or 4 deals because of that one page. So again, you want to be as local as you can with this. If you want more information about area pages, we do have a class for that, and I forgot to go update that. Let me go grab this. Anytime now. There we go. I just did this last week. So I'm going to be sending this to you guys. This is a link to that YouTube video I just found. This is in-depth stuff about how to set up an area page. So because, oh, we do have a little bit of time. So I'm going to cover some of that, but that page there, that video there, it's a full half-hour class just on area pages because it is so important for your site. It's content, it's search engine help, and it brands you as the local expert in your area. You actually know things that other people don't know about such and such neighborhoods, or you can look them up in the MLS, in the, what's it called, the county property appraiser, things like that, that you can put on these area pages that somebody that's moving into this area doesn't know and they want to know. And you can be the person to provide that information for them. And hey, you might even get the deal out of it. Okay, so in most cases, choose neighborhood, then we'll click add. And you're going to search for a neighborhood that's in your MLS. Now, oops. Okay, I'm going to have to go back and switch my IDX here. I turned off the local IDX after my last class. No, we're not in Oregon. Crazy. Okay. Go back to my areas page here, create a new one. Test, oops, area, neighborhood, add, okay. There we go, Jonesboro East. This is just a name I remember from last time I did this class. So we're going to choose a neighborhood that's defined by your MLS. So say, you know, there's a colloquial name for a certain area that encompasses maybe more than one subdivision. If that's not delimited by your MLS, you're not going to be able to find that in this list. It has to be something that your MLS recognizes as a defined area. So after you've got your neighborhood selected there, we don't need to add any additional search criteria because it's just, again, those same things that are bigger than what we've got here. Instead, we'll drop down here to default sort. This is choosing how listings are going to be sorted at the bottom of the page after your area page content. It is going to show listings for this area, but it's going to show your content first. By default, it's going to show the highest price listings first, and that's pretty general across all of Placester, highest price first. But you can sort it by the same things that you can do on your featured listings as well. You can do the freshest on the site. You can do the freshest year built. So let's pretend this is a new subdivision. It's brand new. It's still under construction. Builders are still working on it. And you want to write about this new area that maybe nobody else has written about before. A great way to sort this would be year built newest. It's probably going to be the ones that are still under construction, the ones that are in the MLS with just a floor plan with no actual images of the house. It's a great way to do that so that people can see that you are on top of it. You know what's going on in your area and you know about this new subdivision that is being built. And then under that default results per page, this is how many listings are going to show underneath this area content before they have to click on the next button to see more listings. And it's probably more is better, so we'll do 50. And it's showing me that in Jonesboro East, there are only 12 listings. So I didn't need to do anything besides 20, but and that's probably going to be the case depending on the size of the neighborhood that you're working on, but you can do it bigger. Under that, we've got this checkbox here for should this area be featured, and that's deciding, oh, excuse me, I've got some hiccups going on. That's deciding whether you want this particular area to be listed at the top of your area's index page. By default, it's going to be alphabetical. If you check this box, this is going to show above the alphabetical. If you check this box for multiple area pages, those featured areas are going to be alphabetical themselves, and then it'll start over alphabetical for the ones that are not featured. In the slideshow section, and I'm not checking this because I only have one featured, one area, so it's not going to affect anything. In the slideshow section here, this is very similar to the slideshow on your homepage in that site info section with, on the site settings section with one big difference. You can add as many images here as you want. You're not limited to 5. It's roughly the same dimensions. You want them to be at least 1600 wide by at least 1600 tall, and you want them to be much wider than they are tall, but you can have as many images here as you want. So I'm going to upload several images here. That's the wrong folder. And you do have to do these one at a time, just like on the main slideshow. Oh, I did the same image twice. Whatever, I'm just going to do 3. Dropping down here, we've got a headline, and I'm going to call this section 1. And this is going to be your hook, your big headline at the top of the page underneath the title. underneath or on top of the slideshow. And then down here we've got our body copy. I'm just going to copy and paste my lorem ipsum in here just to show you what it looks like with some text in there. And then we've got this separator image between section 1 and section 2. This is going to go all the way across the full width of the post. And you want this to be wider than it is tall. You want it to be landscape. And it says images should be 600 pixels wide. That's a minimum number. You want at least 600 pixels wide. It'll shrink it down if it's bigger, and it's better to do that rather than blow it up smaller to reach 600 pixels, and that way it'll be pixelated. You want it to be bigger, and it can shrink it down. Under that, we've got section 2. And again, some more fake text just to put it in there and show you what it looks like. And then between section 2 and 3, there's actually 2 separator images. These are going to show side by side across the width of the post. And you want these to be vertical orientation or portrait orientation. You want them to be taller than they are wide. So I've got a couple of images here that I'm going to upload. Very pretty stock images from a free site. Information about how to find those is on that class that I sent earlier. And then we've got our section 3 here, pasting in our text, and you can type in anything you want to there. We've got our excerpt and our featured image here, so this is an excerpt of this area page. Our featured image, it can be one of the ones from your slideshow. In fact, most often it's probably going to be the first one from your slideshow, but you can do something different. So I'm going to do one of these images I didn't use. And that's what's going to show on the area's index page before people click through into this particular area. And then we've got our title and our description. So test area. And again, you can copy and paste the excerpt here into the description. Okay, now I'll save this. Hopefully we're not going to run too long for class. So now I'm going to go back over to Scott's site, click on my Where I Work. Remember, this is my areas index page. And then here it indexes or lists this new test area that I created. I can click on the image or on Read More to go see the full post. Here's my slideshow across the top, which is going to take a while to load because those are high quality images. There we go. We can view listings from this area. Here is our information about this area. There's that first separator image between section 1 and 2. More information. Those 2 separator images between 2 and 3. Section 3, more information. And then there is no separator image. It goes right into the map and list of listings that are in that area. What am I talking about here? So we have a fill-in-the-blank template that you can use for your area pages. It's actually covered in that class that I sent you just a little bit ago about working with the area pages. But here is the actual template itself for how to write an area page. You just take everything that's highlighted in green between brackets, clear it out, and put in your own information about whatever area that you're writing about. And if you want more information about how to use that, check out that video that I sent you a few minutes ago. Okay, we are right on time. I'm going to open it up for questions. Unless anybody has to leave, then have a great day.